and master the four basic math operations, including the feared multiplication tables, of course. Before I begin, I would like to tell you that I did this several years ago just to help my own daughters. When they had the summer task to learn the table of 3 and table of 4, I intended to help them. And that simple task that anybody will do to help their own children made me create what you are about to see. Okay, let's start. Okay, first of all, let me give you some context. The problem we have in Mexico in math is really huge. In the last Planea test performed by the National Education Ministry, almost 77% of students poorly solved problems involving basic math operations. With the pandemic, the problem became more acute. The Ministry of Education has already been doing some tests in all schools in the country to evaluate math skills and knowledge. And although the official report has not been published already, preliminary reports indicate that the problem has gotten worse. We are facing a major challenge, a challenge of great dimensions to help the children recover 2 lost years. This is where Math Magical Circles find their opportunity to rapidly develop mastery of basic math operations, which is the foundation of all higher mathematics. Without them, the students can't understand algebra, study geometry, nor practice statistics. They can't even think about studying a career in engineering or technology, which we all know are the best paid work areas in the entire planet, right? Okay, then let me explain you what a Math Magical Circle is. And just to make things easier for me, from now on, I'm going to refer to Math Magical Circles to MMCs, all right? Because I have a little trouble saying circles.
Okay.
Okay, MMC is a circular shape that contains 4 numbers inside of it. An MMC can be read like this. 7 times 8 times 8 is 56. And 8 times 7 is 56 also. 7 plus 8 is 15, and 8 plus 7 is 15. But you can also read 15 minus 7 is 8. And 15 minus 8 is 7. And 56 divided by 7 is 8. And 56 divided by 8 is 7.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you can read in this Math Magical Circle 2 additions, 2 subtractions, 2 multiplications, and 2 divisions. MMCs are only 36. Tables of 1 and 10 were left behind. They are the simplest ones, and with a little explanation of what is to multiply by the unit or by 10 is enough for the children to get the result. There is no need to add the memorization effort in those tables. Also, since the community property is present in the MMCs, 7 times 2 is equals to 2 times 7. By eliminating all the repeated operations, only 36 multiplications were left. And with these 36 multiplications, the 36 MMCs were made. Each one of them has endowed with an image that made them unique within the collection. An image powerful enough to be remembered and not confused with any other. That's why now the heart is 7A operators, the moon is the 2-6, the clock or the watch is the 5-9, for example. Students now realize that each pair of operators is unique and there is no other pair like it, okay? We are eliminating the confusion. And what with this collection of MMCs? What should have been done? board games, of course, a Mexican style bingo with figures. We call it lottery. I know that you
Yeah,
call
oh
bingo
yeah, I
in the
played it
States.
many times.
All right, then you know how to play it. Nice. Well, the second one is a memory game, and the third one is the one I called pig-headed. In Mexico, we call it cabezón, of course. And let me tell you about the lottery first. It has 8 cardboards, and each one is a complete multiplication table. That is, each card contains the 8 MNCs of its multiplication tables. Please remember that there are only 8 because there are no tables of 1 and 10. That is why the lottery cardboards goes from the table 2 to the table 9. And the last one is a special cardboard of even operations, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, etc. The MMCs in each table are set in a specific order. That is, they are not placed randomly. In the top row, you will see always the MMCs that multiply by 2, 3, and 4. For example, in this one that you can see at the left of your screen, in the top line, you can see 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4. And on the center line, you can see MMCs that multiply by 5 and 6. And the bottom line, you can see the ones that multiply by 7, by 8, and by 9. This pattern is the same on each of the lottery cardboards. You can see, for example, in the table 8, 8 is multiplied in the top by 2, 3, and 4, in the center line by 6, by 5 and 6, and the bottom line by 7, by 8, and by 9. It's the same pattern on each cardboard. And please notice that each MMCs appears into tables. For example, this MMC, the watch that you can see at the right of your screen, the watch appears in the table of 5 and also appears in the table of 9. The image, it is exactly the same. The only thing that changes is the position. In the table of 5, the watch is in the last position, which corresponds to the 9. And in the table of 9, is in the position of 5. This represents a great advantage. While the learning process at school, the students start, right now without this method, the regular one, they start to study the table of 1, then the table of 2, the table of 3. With the table of 4, they struggle a little bit. And when the table of 5 arrives, everything is joyful, you know, for a moment. A little tiny moment, they think the things are going to be easier, right? But no, then arrives the table of 6. And what happens? The first frustrations, the first punishment, locked in the room until they learn the table of 6. And if I did move some memories, please forgive me. Okay, look what is happening with the MMCs. Students with MMC's method begin to study the even multiplication table, then the 2 table, then the 3 and the 4 and the 5. When they reach the table of 6, they already know the moon. You can see it in the left corner up, because they already learned it in the table of 2. They already know the ring because it was learned in the table of 3. The balloon in the table of 4, the ball in the table of 5, and the pig in the even multiplication table. When they reach the table of 6, they will only have to learn the last 3. When they move forward to the table of 7, they only need to study the heart and the magnifying glass. And when the 8 times 8 table comes, the only mathematical circle that they need to learn is the snowman. And when they get to the table of 9, students happily discover that they already know every single MMC.
Right.
It turns out that by the time they have learned up to the table of 5, they already know 30 of the 36 MMCs. This is a huge, huge advantage.
Mhm.
And I believe I have already told you that in addition to the games, memorization techniques are used in this method to facilitate the recording of information in the mind. Episodic memory is one of the most powerful tools we have in our brain. Most of us find easier to remember a book or a movie that we watched a long time ago or even years ago. But when you try to remember a phone number that you listened it, I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe 5 minutes ago,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, but most of us will
Or
fail.
2 minutes ago, or 1 minute ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is because the mind has a hard time remembering raw data like numbers.
Mhm.
Meaningful relationships that helps to recover memories and data cannot be established. And that is a matter of evolution. That's the only explanation. For this reason, MMCs, we use the story technique. It is through children's stories that we facilitate the memorization of figures on each multiplication table. For example, let me tell you about this story about the pair which no longer wanted to be a pear, no longer wanted to be a fruit. Now she wanted to be a flower, prairie and perfume one, a yellow spring flower. But since she knew it was impossible, she was very sad. But the cake, as it was her friend, and it was good and delicious chocolate cake, told her, "Don't cry. Take one of my candles, and when you have your wish, touch the fire and pour it out. But remember, when you have the desire on your mind, you blow hard." Excited, she runs out, and a strong wind blows, and the fire goes out, and boom, she turns into a tire. Ugly and stuck out. A horrible tire. When she saw herself, the heart began to stop. She felt that her heart was no longer beating. She began to feel pain throughout all of her body, and she had been hit by a stick. She felt like she was breaking, like a piñata breaks in 1,000 of pieces. Since that day, she has no feelings, and she is as cold as a snowman. Okay,
Right.
what this little story does is to hold the attention and interest. Through the story, we facilitate the construction of an image in the mind of the students. And therefore, we also facilitate the recovery of memories and information. This simple exercise also left a memory in your mind. And even if you no longer see the car, and I'm going to do no, I'm not doing a little test, but even you no longer see the card of the A table, your mind will be able to draw the image, the mental image, and remember most of the MNCs and the positions in which which every MNC is. Okay, we are building an entire image on your mind. Okay, sorry. Well, inside the box of MNCs, you will find two set of cards, two decks, one red and one green. Each deck has exactly the same 36 MMCs. With one deck, you can play the lottery, but using both, we can play the classic game of memory. For example, if you want to reinforce the memory of the table A, to do so, you will need to get the 8 red MMCs and the 8 green ones and start practicing. While playing, this game, students also are strengthening their visual and working memory, motor skills, laterality, I believe is correct the word, and a few other skills, okay? The third game is called, I call it pig-headed or cabezón, as I already told you. This is a classic flashcard game. This is where the sandglass is used. There's also a sandglass inside of the box. The participants have to place a plume or holder on the forehead. For example, if you and me are playing, I don't know, I don't have any. Okay, if you and me, I'm playing. In my turn, I place the sand time, and then I take the first card on the top of the deck and I place it on my forehead. Then you are looking at the card and you are asking me about the math operation that we are practicing. For example, if I place the heart here, I don't see it, but you have to ask me 7 times 8, for example. I will answer 56, and rapidly I put out the card and I take another one from the top of the desk, and you then ask me the next operation. For example, 3 times 7, and I took it, I said 21, and I took it down. And my turn continues until the sandglass runs out. Now is your turn, and get the chance to get some cards. And the one who gets the most is the winner. But please notice what is happening right now. When I place my card on my forehead, you are looking at the image and save it in your mind, all the information. You are repeating it out loud, the math operation you want me to answer, and confirming if the answer that I'm giving you is the right one. Actually, the one that is starting the most is you. Students that even realize that their mind is saving the information visually, auditory, and kinesthetically.
Tough one.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You're
Okay.
doing great.
Okay. Well, WSIS method helps to develop mathematical, psychosocial, and linguistic knowledge and skills. By including stories, children and teachers use them to teach vocabulary, meanings, practice reading, and text creation too. Being board games, students develop social skills such as tolerance, communication, negotiation, taking turns, control of emotions, leadership. Not because they are the magical circles. Every cardboard, game could help to develop those skills too. But those skills are the one that the children require to interact with other classmates, and we should, and every teacher has to develop in the children. Has to try to develop those skills with the children every single day at school. And the method comes with a teacher's book. It has 5 chapters. In the first one, the MMC methods and games are explained. The second chapter describes 57 work, study, and playful sessions with the students with well-defined learning objectives. The chapter 3 describes 18 practices, study and game activities that the teacher can organize with the same material. In chapter 4, teachers can find the 9 children's stories, one for each lottery table. And in the chapter 5, there's an evaluation tool to measure the progress of the students. But like everything in the MMC's method, it's also a game. Well, some results. This was some results that I obtained with a 6th grade group in a school here in Hermosillo. You can see all the data at your left of your screen, 32 students. The second column shows you scores that they obtained in test that it was applied to their to see their level of knowledge and abilities in basic operations. In the blue graph, you can see that 14 students failed. 5 of them got a grade of 6. 5 of them got 7, 3 got 8, 5 9s, and no one got a 10. They worked with the MMCs for 5 weeks, and they were tested again. The results are in the orange graph. No student failed, not even a 6 rating. There were 4 7s, 8, 11 8s, 11 9s, and 6 10s. And they accomplished this task in just 5 weeks, 2 or 3 times a week, around 30 minutes each day. I mean, this is one of the most greatest results that I have. I have to say.
Yeah.
By now, more than 35,000 students have improved their math skills using MMCs, helped by nearly 1,300 teachers that have been trained in the method in around 250 public schools that have adopted MMCs as a supporting tool to master basic math operations here in Sonora State. And as probably you already know, we are in the middle of a great project for the 4,100 Rotary District. I don't know, how do you call it? The main goal is to help 160,000 students to improve mental calculus, distributing 10,000 MMC kits among 1,200 public schools, and training 6,000 teachers in the MMC method. And of course, Victor Hugo and I and all the persons that have been involved in this, we are hoping that with this training and this material that could last for 2 or 3 years more, so the benefit could reach maybe, hopefully, 500,000 of students within the next years. I don't know if I did it so. It was
Very
like a Speedy
Yeah.
Gonzalez.
It feels like you went too fast, but
Well, it's hard to do in this format. You have to sit down and actually play it some to really get the full understanding of it. But so how I see how you use the multiplication. How do you emphasize the addition?
Here, for example, everything is about getting the image and using the images to make some meaningful connections between the numbers and the images. That's why, first of all, we help the kids and everyone with the images, just to set and remember, for example, the heart. If I tell you that you already know by playing the games here, that the heart is in the down left corner of this entire cardboard, and that is the position of the 7, because of the heart is a part of the 8 table group, and that is the position of the 7. If you remember the whole image, you would know that is the operator 7 8. Okay, and helped with the heart, I can tell you that when I was 15, I mean, when I was young, I had 15 years old, my heart beat it 56 times. It was 5 6 5 6, something like that. I mean, every one of us, a kind of
Right.
storytelling, but every one of us has a different experiences in the that we just learned in the past with each figures. For example, I can tell you about the fire. 5 times 8 is 40, right? 40 degrees in Mexico, 40 degrees is hot. It's hot like fire. But 13 of Thursday is the bad lucky day for you, or Friday? Yeah,
Friday.
Friday the 13th.
Okay, one Friday the 13th, it was cold, 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So this could be a little meaningful things or phrases that can help you recover the memory and reveal all the image in your mind and set the numbers, the 5 at left, the 8 at right, the 13 and the top, and the 40 in the bottom. Knowing how to read a magical circle, when your mind recovers the memory, you could be able to say 8 math operations. For example, 5 plus 8 is the one on the top, 13. In the other way, 8 plus 5, it is the same result, 13. But if you go from the 13 and subtract the number that is at the left, the result is the number that is at right. 13 minus 5 is 8. And the other way, 13 minus 8 is 5. Okay? That is the way you can see and read and build additions and subtractions. Now, the two operators are the same, 5 and 8. But if you start from the bottom number, you can divide it, that bottom number divided by the number of the left, and the result is the number on the right. And the other way around, if you divide the number in the bottom by the number on the right, the result is the number in the left. 40 divided by 5 is 8. 40 divided by 8 is 5. That's how you can read 2 additions, 2 subtractions, 2 multiplications, and 2 divisions with just one magical circle.
Okay. Thank you.
And you
Did I
learn
answer
by
your question or not? Did I?
Yeah.
Loteria.
So how do you play Loteria with this card?
Oh, it is, I mean, when you are when you are working, when you are trying to set in your mind some memories, those have to be those memories that involve emotions are the one that our mind keep the most time. You already have some certain images or certain numbers and methods that makes things easier. Not what you need to do is practice and practice and practice again. Okay. Teachers get the book and they set the objective of learning, I don't know, maybe the table of 8. And the first session, they have to first read the story so the kids can remember all the images. Then they play the pig head, but the figures, not using any number. For example, we can play, and I can place all the cards in my forehead, and then you start to describe it, the image. We are not using any number. You can tell me it's a fruit, it's green, inside is white, and then I have to remember which image you are describing, right? I say pear, right, correct. That simple exercise is giving us to the mind a lot of characteristics of that image. When you know that it's a fruit, it's green, is sweet. It is I don't know, white inside. There's a lot of things that we can use in the future to make connections with the numbers. For example, I can say the pair 2 times 8 in 16 bytes, I can eat my pair, for example. I don't know, I'm just trying to
Exactly.
giving you an example. How can I build a meaningful relationship between the number and the result, or the number that is in the bottom? For you, it will be maybe another thing that will be meaningful for you. Each one of us has a different experience through life that can that we can use to make those connection or relationship between the images and the numbers. Okay, then the next objective that the teacher will have is to make them remember where each image is in the cardboard. You will know that first is the pear, then the flower, then the cake, then the fire, and then the teachers will test the kids if they remember where each image is. Then in the other session, they will be test if they know what the operators are. Okay. For example, they will learn on and be test if they remember if the pear is 2A, the flower is 3A, the cake is 4A, etc. So through 5 or 6 sessions, they will know all the images, all the operators. They will build the relationships between the numbers that is in the bottom and that is in the top. They will be tested how to interpret additions and subtractions, and then they will be tested how to interpret multiplications and divisions. How can we accomplish that? Doing it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, 15 times, I don't know, 30 times.
Yep.
And how can that the children's would I don't know, throw away all the materials by playing? They are always having a great time. So the lottery game can be played as the simple rules that you know. In school, yeah. In school, teachers made a little groups of 5 or 6 students, and in the classroom they were, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 groups of 4 students, and the teacher gives them a box so they can play, learn in that little tiny group. They can interact to each other, and they can practice, and while practicing and playing, their mind are saving all the data, all the information that they will need later.
Okay.
Let me tell you, Kurt Krzyzewski, that I actually read the storytelling for the Loteria to my older brother over the phone. He's in California, and he was following it. And it's very entertaining. Yes. I was reading the storytelling and telling him, okay, so this is a loteria game, like the bingo game. And children need to be paying attention to the storytelling and then looking for the image. And that helps a lot to memorization, to, paying attention, listening. And I really enjoy it. So if you have the English version, we need to make an order. My brother wants some.
Yes, I do have it. But certainly will need some improvement.
Well, definitely learning the timetables by playing instead of, getting the book and memorizing it. I remember that I memorized the timetables because I was scared of getting, something on my head, because that's how my older brother learned them. So poor guy, he was, it was not a good experience for him. So I was in the background saying, okay, I need to learn it because I don't want to get a smack. But this is a very positive way to learn the timetables, to learn how to add, to learn how to subtract, the division part. So I think it's a very positive way to teach children and for the children to learn.
Yeah, you know what? It to accomplish this task, it won't take years. It will take weeks or maybe
Mhm.
months. But
Yes.
right now, children have to try to remember the multiplication tables through second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and when they reach fifth and sixth grade, they don't even master the multiplication tables.
Yeah.
They accomplish that task in months with this method.
And I know that when you learn something by playing, it stays more in your memory because it's a positive
For
memory.
sure.
Because
Yeah.
their emotion involved there.
Mhm.
That's why.
Yes.
You enjoyed the sessions, you enjoy the process, your mind is more open to participate, you enjoy the activities, and you wanted to repeat those activities. That's why.
You told a story about this child in another meeting where with the district for 100. Would you mind sharing it with us?
The one that the one that won to all the classmates. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it was a really nice story. Once I went to a school that they were using the math magical circles. I don't know, by the time there was like 2 or 3 months. And I was invited to a meeting for the Teachers' Day. When I was there, one of the teachers told me, you know what happened? Let me tell you a story. Okay, tell me. He said, there was a kid, I don't remember his name, I think it was Miguel or something like that. There was a kid that he always failed in math. He didn't want to know anything about math. He was named I don't know if the word is the same in the United States, the donkey of the of the classmates. And when the math magical circles arrived, he was surprised. He wanted to play, and he had it like no other kid in the classroom. He started to learn, he started to compete with his classmates, and he started to win. That little boy that was labeled as the burrito, he started to win to all the classmates. So finally, he went to a competition with his classmates. He won, and the teacher wouldn't believe that his accomplishment. And he competed with the champion of the other classroom, and he won. And the teachers were, what should we do? We need to send our champion to the inter-scholar competition, and we cannot send him because he always fails. And he said, well, he won, we need to send him. They sent the little boy, and he won. He won the champions of the entire schools that were in the area, and he went to the state competition of mathematics.
Wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was really wonderful. It was
So
the
I'm sure
method.
that experience actually affected the child and his self-esteem and his even self-image. You know, it broke
Yeah.
down the label of the child that is not learning, and it was just a different way to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this knowledge that is been so difficult through generations and generations, I believe every one of us has its own story about while learning math facts, and those are not pleasant ones. It is really difficult, and I just discovered while learning in doing my research that is a matter of evolution. Our mind is not set to remember easily raw data like numbers. That's why. And that's why I use images, stories, and games just to make the activities more pleasant and involving emotions so they can repeat the task without making any faces in with I don't know, enjoying the task. That's why.
It's a game. And perhaps you covered this, but what's the game for what graders would this be addressed to? What grades? First to third or?
Okay. Supposedly children need to master these operations by the 4th grade. They start to learn and practice how to add and how to subtract in 1st grade and 2nd grade. Then 2nd grade, at the end of the 2nd grade and the 3rd grade, they start to learn math tables. But it is a fact that they arrive to the 5th grade and 6th grade without not knowing or feeling insecure about mathematics. Right now, here in Sonora, the teachers are using this material from 5th grade to the 6th grade. Even once Secretary Education Ministry asked me to make a little test on the secondary school because there were a lot of children there that didn't know how to, I mean, they wasn't ready to algebra because using basic math operation was very bad for them. And they made a test with the math magical circles and the results were great. So which grades? I mean, right now, I believe all grades need this material. If I succeed with this, maybe in, I don't know, 10, 15 years, math magical circles will only be used on the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd grade because they won't need it no longer in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Yes, because the students run behind, especially now with COVID, and even before COVID, there was low ranges in terms of their academic level.
Yeah.
So, but you're saying, is there, I don't know if I remember correctly, it's a 3-year period to see how they improve in their skills?
For math magical circles?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just in the same, it should be 3 or 4 months. That's it.
3 or 4 months?
Yeah, of
To
course.
see how they're improved. Oh.
If for example, in this project that we are working on, the students of the 5th and 6th grade are going to receive the material, and the teachers will be trained, and they will be able to master multiplication tables in, I believe, 3 months, 12 weeks. That's it. And they won't forget it.
I'm sure they won't.
No, they won't.
So, and this is why the Rorty District 4100 is collecting or doing a fundraising to pay for this game for Baja and Sonora elementary schools, right?
Yeah, in Sinaloa.
In Sinaloa.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,200 schools are going to receive materials. This is the project.
Oh, that's it.
I mean, it won't be, for example, in Baja California, 300 schools are going to receive material and the teachers are going to be trained, but they are like 6,000 schools. I mean, it is an effort,
Yes.
but there's
There's a lot of need. And
Yeah.
if I remember correctly from the meeting with Victor, the governor, he mentioned that for those elementary schools that were going to be picked to receive this game would be in consideration schools that are nearby Rotary clubs, obviously, and especially those Rotary clubs who participate in the raffle, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That those clubs will have priority.
Yeah, and Victor is waiting for some information, for some data that Education Ministry will give him about the results of the test that they applied to the children. So you will have some information about which schools has the most need in this kind of help. So we know that all the schools, all the children struggle with this. We all know it historically, but some of them are, I don't know, maybe just kind of if there's problems in the family, maybe when the children are not well feed or their parents are separated, they have lower scores in every subject. We all know that.
Yeah.
And then some of the schools that will be in the top of the need for these materials maybe will be all the ones that are in the peripheral sites of the cities. You will have all that information, and then the clubs will be choose the schools that they want to help with this. Yeah.
Thank you,
Well,
Krzyzewski.
thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to explain it to us. Miriam had good things to say about it, but it made me interested and excited to learn what you were doing.
Okay, so you can find some more information in this site.
Okay.
There's an English version of all the things that I've been saying. Kind of a little more explanation. And if you want me to send you some more information, we'll be glad to send you that info.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate all the work you've done.
Yeah, it's been years.
I know that for a fact.
Very worth it.
Very worth it.
Yeah.
And he actually came up with this game for his own children.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Thank you.
I didn't know.
You didn't know how this was going to evolve, right?
Yeah, this trip, I wasn't planning this trip, but I'm on it, and I'm planning to go all the way.
Good.
Great.
Good.
Well, thank you very much, Krzyzewski. We're looking forward to see how this develops, and I was hoping for Brenda to join us. Brenda, she's the community leader, and she's our connection, our liaison with the elementary school of it's called Ex Ayuntamiento Elementary School, and they're very interested. But we need to wait until we see how things are evolving with the District 4100.
Yeah, of course. Okay, I hope I was clear. I tried my best.
Yeah, no, you did a very nice job. Thank you.
So if you have any other question, please ask Miriam.
We'll do it.
We're gonna have to start playing in English and practicing our English. And also, this would be helpful also to learn Spanish.
Exactly. That's what I
and
need to
in
practice in
both-
Spanish.
Yeah.
If it's in both languages, it would be a very fun way to not only learn, you know, the math skills, but also language skills too.
Exactly.
In learning another language,
Yep,
which,
yep.
you know,
Learning
great
the names of all the different images that are on the cards. I mean, you could start there and then get around to figuring out how you're going to tell your story with those.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
That would be a great thing. How could you come up with a story? And then how can you come up with a story in a different language?
Yes.
Yeah, of
With,
course. And that
with
is
my
a
limited
practice.
Spanish, can I still come up with a story? But you know, it makes you even be more creative.
Oh yeah, that is a practice that the teacher does. And I don't, we don't have the time, but in each session of the book, there's we ask the teachers to let the children to build their own story with
Great idea.
every image.
Mhm.
So building the story helps to keep the memory.
Mhm.
But within the story, we ask them to use the numbers that are inside of each circle. So
Right.
the memory gets even stickier in their minds.
Yep.
So they learn how to write down a story, how to create a text,
Mhm.
and while they are saving all the information they need about the image and the numbers on each mathematical circle. But that is for the teachers training program. you will know about it.
Yes. 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 Yes.
It
That's
would be
great.
wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Krzyzewski. I'm starting getting your name. Julieta calls you a different name. Crush?
Crucius.
Crucius.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
That's yeah, it's a short name of mine.
But thank you very much. Leslie and Royce, thank you for your time. And I hope this was a good explanation of what the
Yeah.
game is and also the possibilities of the game. And learning by playing would be a wonderful experience, especially for the children that Krzyzewski mentioned. We have many cases of social issues within these communities, and playing a game will be very refreshing and in a learning process. So thank you very much, Krzyzewski. Such a
No,
pleasure.
no.
Thank you.
And thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your time. Okay.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good day. Say
Bye-bye.
hi to your wife,
Bye.
Maria. Bye.
Thank you, Miriam, for setting this up.
Oh, happy to do that. See you
Yeah.
soon.
Okay. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. I'll see you in an hour or
So
two.
when do we get our game?
Yeah.
you
How
want a
do we get
game?
our game? There's the
Oh.
question.
Oh, I
Krzyzewski,
need to
that's a
send them
question.
right away.
You
Is
can
there a
send
place
that-
we can buy one? You don't have to give us one. We can buy it, but I don't know where I would get it.
If you are going to play it, I can send you by free. But if,
Well,
if you
that's-
promise to play with it,
Absolutely, we will play with, no doubt about it.
okay, then I'll ask Miriam for the address and I'll send it to you a box of games.
Well, that would be
Well, thank you.
wonderful. That would be
That would be
excellent.
great. So we'll put the Rotary Club to play some games in one of our
That-
meetings.
That's it. We will do that. Give them cards and make them all stand with their on their head and try to guess.
Yeah, yes. And we can do it both bilingual.
Yes,
It will become
yeah.
a bilingual club.
bit by bit.
I'll send you the address, Krzyzewski. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
thank you
Okay.
then. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Thank you.